Hi folks, it's Paul Flies. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. My last video was a flight to Provincetown, Massachusetts, which is on the end of Cape Cod. I have a little bit of the footage here from the landing there. This video is the return trip from Cape Cod, Provincetown to Bedford, Massachusetts. Now this departure wasn't a run-of-the-mill departure. I actually encountered some traffic as I was departing the runway and climbing to get on course back to Bedford, Massachusetts. It was a straight-out departure, and you'll see that I encountered the traffic pretty soon after I left the airport. I'll talk about what I do to avoid situations like this. I will tell you how I got around this situation. And I'll also talk about a new tool that 4Flight, who's not a sponsor of this video or any of my videos, but 4Flight came out with a new tool shortly after this incident happened that allows a pilot to actually see via FlightAware traffic that's in the area before you take off. And I think that would have really helped me in this situation. But take a look at it, and I'll be back to talk about it after you get to see what happened. We pick it up here. My run-up is done, my pre-flight is done, and I'm just about to take off from Provincetown. Left crosswind. Provincetown traffic. Cirrus is departing 25. Provincetown will be a straight out departure. Okay, we'll go full power. Airspeed is alive. We're off. Clear obstacles, 90 knots. Caps available. Autopilot's engaged. Somebody's out there.
Traffic, 10 o'clock, low, 2 miles.
What was that? He's not talking. there you have it. A minute and 10 seconds after I applied takeoff power, I had to disengage the autopilot and make a maneuver to avoid an airplane coming directly at me. Why did this happen? Well, let's take a look. I'll back up the video and I'll go through step by step what I did and why I think it happened.
Left crosswind. Provincetown traffic. Cirrus is departing 25. Provincetown will be a straight out departure.
So here you just heard me make my announcement that I was taking the runway I was about to take off. I had been listening to the radio for probably about 5 minutes just to figure out what was going on at the airport. Sometimes it gets busy, there's a lot of airplanes, and you can kind of paint a mental picture if there's airplanes in the pattern, where they are and what's going on. But it was quiet, there was no other traffic around. You can see me as I start moving after I make the radio call. I take a look to the left, make sure there's nobody on final or is going to be a problem for me. I also take a look to the right, take a look at the runway and the taxiways, make sure no one's going to get in my way as I take off. This aircraft also has a traffic alert system. It gives a graphical representation of aircraft that are in the area, and it also gives you an oral alert if somebody gets close that you should be concerned about. Now, this system works on the ground, but it's not as reliable as it is in the air. It requires that the airplane be in direct line of sight with an ADS-B tower, where it gets most of its information from. And you need to be in the air most of the time for that to happen. Regardless, though, it does show some traffic that's in the air and nearby, and it's a tool that I utilize. I look at both the screen of the airplane, and it's connected to my iPad that I have ForeFlight on. So in this still photograph taken from the video, you can actually see the screen that I saw when I was taking off. Now, you can't see any aircraft in this picture here, and I'll get into that in a minute. But if you look at the magenta line, that's the course that I was about to follow, and I was going to turn right to get on the runway. There was an aircraft beyond what you could see in this screen, and I saw that on my iPad, but he was about 20-25 miles out, so I didn't really consider him a threat at the time. Okay, so here we are. Here's a still photo of this screen. We've just taken off. We're maybe 50 feet off the runway, and we're about halfway down the 3,500 foot length. And if you look closely, you can see two aircraft now on that screen. One is directly above me. He wasn't there before. All of a sudden he appeared, and that's the unreliability of using this system on the ground. Now, he was 2,000 feet high, and he was almost directly overhead. I would have had a tough time at seeing him if I had known he was there, and he wasn't a factor. The guy further out, he was closer. That radius arc that you see, that's 7.5 miles. So I give him about 10 or 12 miles out from where I am at this time. Keep in mind, my wheels had just left the ground. This is a very busy time when you're flying an airplane. The airplane is accelerating. You need to do configuration changes. This airplane takes off with 50% flaps. You need to get to a certain airspeed. You need to make sure the airplane is climbing. Then you take out those flaps and you need to accelerate to VY, which is the best climb speed. And I stay at that speed up until about 600 feet is generally what I do. And then I'll accelerate the plane some more into what we call a cruise climb. And that's to keep the engine cool, to keep it from overheating. So all this is going on, and I'm looking at the traffic. At this point, I made a decision that the traffic over me was not an issue, and I'd watch the guy out in front of me. You got to keep in mind that all these decisions are made in a split second. And that's really part of being a pilot. That's what you have to do.
We're off. Autopilot's engaged.
So here I am. It's literally about 45 seconds to a minute later. I have the airplane configured. I turned on the autopilot, in this case, so I could take a look for this traffic coming at me. And he's gone from 10 or 12 miles away to about 4 or 5 miles away. I've traveled maybe a mile and a half in this time. and he's covered a lot of distance. He's really moving. I am also accelerating. I'm going from my VY speed, which is about 104 knots, 107 knots, up to 120 knots. So I'm moving also. This is where I decide that I don't like how this is going. I disconnect the autopilot and I initiate a right turn to get out of this guy's path.
Somebody's out there.
Traffic, 10 o'clock, low, 2 miles.
So I just finished my turn away from this guy and I get a traffic alert. If you look, I've zoomed in on the screen here again, and you can see the 05 there. That's the actual traffic target. I'm the white airplane here, and I'm about 2 miles from the target. This is the track that I was originally on that I turned away from. If you notice, you can see the target there. He's got a minus 0.5 underneath the target. That means that he's supposedly 500 feet below me. Now, do I want to bet my life on that number? No. It could be wrong, and I don't have him in visual contact yet. So I think the decision to make a turn here was a good one. This last line here, actually a curve, is an indicator that shows where my airplane will be about
60 seconds
into the future. You can see I've turned right and now I've begun to turn back to the left. And what that allowed me to do was sidestep this guy and give him room to go by. Even though he's below me, he's now offset in path. We're not going to fly directly over him.
What's that?
As I'm turning back, I finally get this guy into visual sight. I've zoomed in here so you can see what he looks like. And here's what he looks like on the screen. He's the yellow target. He's showing 700 feet below me now. One last look at him here. Looks like he's initiating a left turn. He's going to turn under me and come up the other side of me. I have no idea what he was doing. I just want to talk a second about looking out the window for traffic like this. As a pilot, it's really our first line of defense for avoiding other airplanes in the air when flying under VFR rules. This picture is a screenshot from just before I began the turn to get away from this target. I've gone over this picture pretty closely, and I can't find that airplane. I have a screenshot here from a new addition to the 4Flight product. It's called Live Traffic, and it allows you to see traffic that's in the air that's reporting via ADS-B in real time. This is a picture from another day, but as you can see, there's a target depicted on the screen. This target is actually flying away from the Provincetown airport. I've clicked on the target here, and you can see a data block comes up. And this gives information such as the speed of the target and the type aircraft and its altitude. So if this target were closer by and flying towards me, I'd be able to make an assessment as to whether it was safe to take off or not. I've already integrated this tool into my flying process. When I sit at the runway just before takeoff at an uncontrolled field, I'll bring this screen up and look at it. Generally takes about 30 seconds, but I just ensure that there's no aircraft in the pattern that I can't see or coming into the pattern that might present a conflict for me. It's a great thing. It really increases your situational awareness, which is important, and it allows me to see airplanes that I might not be able to see with my eyes. Okay, that's enough of that. I enjoyed putting that together. It was a good exercise for me. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you have any comments or questions, write them down below in the comments section and I'll try to get back to you. Meanwhile, I hope you enjoy these clips crossing over the Massachusetts coast here, then my approach into Bedford with about a 10-knot crosswind.
Tier 325, contact approach 118.25. We'll see you. Gulfstream 5, Quebec Sierra, reduce speed to 190, then ascend to maintain 2000.
Mike Delta, Hanscom ground, taxi to the blast fence via Juliet Tango Echo, crossway 5. Hey, Mike Charlie, runway 29, clear to land, wind 23012.
Okay, clear to land 29, 8 Mike Charlie. That'd be a little sporty crosswind. From the left. Okay, 15% power. Flaps to first notch of flaps, which is 50% on this airplane. Keep the nose pitch down. Do that to beam the numbers.
Altitude.
That's good. Means we're going down. Turn our base now. Oh, there's a hawk there. Get some more flaps in. Okay, we slow down. Keep that nose pitch down. Power in. Final.
$500.
My best landing.
Yes, tower, midflight 5, listen from the west ramp, departure to the south.
Midflight 5, hand side, departure ramp, set your own risk, pursuit on course.
On course south, midflight.
So you said Mike Charlie, table turn left to Golf, to parking.
Over at Gulf, I'm going to West Ramp, 8 Mike Charlie.
10 Mike Charlie, taxi via Golf Echo Juliet.
Golf Echo Juliet, West Ramp, 8 Mike Charlie.
And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. It's been a while since my last video, but I do have a lot of raw footage and I'm going to get it edited and hopefully be putting out one every 2 weeks to start, and hopefully get up to 1 per week after that. So if you enjoyed it, again, leave me a thumbs up, and I hope you enjoy your day. Thanks for watching.